Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monte, one half of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the #1 growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monte and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monte and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monte the Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
All right, welcome to a special Saturday edition of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, with special guest Ace, Cowboy Bob Orton. Jimmy Pharaoh.
What's happening there, Monte?
All right, brother. You want to introduce our guest?
Why,
please?
certainly. I have the privilege to introduce our guest, Cowboy Bob Orton. Born on November 10th, 1950, 6'1", 242, listed from Kansas City. Son of Bob Orton Sr., brother Barry Orton, father of Randy Orton. Nathan, stand-up comedian. The resume reads as follows. NWA Florida Tag Team Champion 3 times. Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champion, 2-time Georgia Tag Team Champion, and here's one of our favorites, PWI Rookie of the Year, one of our favorite publications, Cowboy Bob Orton. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
We always thought
Tony Gurria was also.
Did he share that?
Year I got the Rookie of the Year.
He shared that with you.
Yes, we did. And a few weeks ago, I just seen him in Iowa. And
Okay.
he looks
You looking good?
Great.
Okay.
242, thank you very much. I haven't weighed that in 20 years.
Did they get the height right? 6'1". Did they get the height right?
Pretty close.
Yeah, you're still pretty tall, man.
He always seemed bigger than 6'1", though. Is that just me? You were like a skyscraper.
6'1".
Oh, you seem like a How tall is Hogan?
Hogan, I think, was 6'5".
Yeah, it's about
6'6".
6'5".
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, they always seemed bigger to me.
What are you weighing nowadays?
260.
Nice.
I'm working on it.
Hey, looking good. You look good.
we
Looking
go.
good. Looking
Thank
good.
you very much.
All right, man. So we just want to start off. Let's ask you about this. Growing up the son of Bob Orton Sr., what's it like having a legend as a father?
It was fantastic. A little bit rough in school. Dad was always a heel or a bad guy, so nobody liked him. So therefore, nobody liked me.
Okay.
Really?
Which made school interesting, but at a young age, I got pretty tough. Which, probably helped me later on in life, because those fellas I slapped the hell out of, made me the man I am today.
Okay.
There you go.
How was Pop at home? Was he a stern father, or was he like easygoing, or a combination of the two?
A combination of the two.
Okay.
You didn't want to mess up around Dad, but if you did what you're supposed to, he was great.
Okay.
How did your mom like the wrestling business?
Oh, I don't think Mom even watched
Yeah.
Really?
wrestling. She
Did the violent aspect bother her, or she just was like, oh, okay, as long as
Well,
nobody
just
gets hurt?
didn't like wrestling. Dad got hurt, had to back operations and stuff, and
Okay.
and I think that maybe hurt Mom a little bit. And then she owned a bar, so
Okay.
she was always busy at the bar.
Mm-hmm. How long was the bar and establishment for?
Well, my grandparents had it before
Okay.
we did, so they probably had that play maybe 30 years.
Okay.
So a family-run business then.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, that rolls into this. Was it a foregone conclusion that you were going to become a pro wrestler and your brother would become a pro wrestler, or were you thinking about...
Well, I started wrestling amateur when I was 9, and so wrestling always kind of been in my blood. And I tried college for a couple of years. Campus living is fun, but your grades aren't real good.
Well, yeah.
So
you were studying, you just weren't studying books.
exactly.
There we go.
And when I was studying, I enjoyed maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But anyway, I ended up going to Florida and the sportatorium down there with Eddie Graham, and worked out with Hiro Matsuda.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Jack Briscoe come in and help me out every once in a while.
Briscoe.
And
So
that's
what was
where
it-
I got started.
What was it like training with Hiro Matsuda and Jack Briscoe and Eddie Graham? How much were you able to learn? I mean, my God, that's a
fantastic.
plethora.
Yeah, oh, yes, it is. Yeah, and plus, Dad would help me with the psychology part of the business.
Okay.
So I got to learn wrestling from a couple of the best, Hiro and Jack, and ring psychology from Eddie and my dad. So I was pretty fortunate to have that kind of a coach.
Were you hoping?
Coaches.
Were you hoping to be a heel or a face as you started to come up? Did those ideas even pop into your head, or whatever was given you was fine?
Whatever was given me is fine until I got into the business and started working. And heel is a lot more fun. It's just more fun.
Right. Right.
No doubt about it.
If you were doing it nowadays, though, would you be a heel or a face?
I'd be a heel.
Even with the marketing and the T-shirts and all the money you could make.
Yeah, that was never my big thing. I mean, it really wasn't. I just enjoyed my job. I got paid plenty of money as far as I was concerned. I know a lot of guys did better. Didn't care. I had a blast. My whole life I've had a blast.
That's great.
I've got no complaints.
So at one point, do you tell your father, Dad, I think I want to be a pro wrestler. College isn't working out. And what does he say to you, and what's his advice to you?
Well, he had gone to Florida for his last run down there, and so I ended up just going down with my wife. He didn't know I was even married at the time.
Well, tell us that. How come you didn't tell anyone you got married?
Because he told me never get married.
That's a smart man right there.
Wow.
Mr. Orton knew his stuff.
You know what? I kind of wish that Bob Orton Sr. was my father.
Oh my God!
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Monte. Right?
Thanks, Dad.
Lord.
Thanks for the advice.
Oh my Lord!
So anyway, I didn't become the dentist he wanted me to be, and did get married.
What?
So,
That's
yeah.
be superplexing his patients.
So
my
so
God.
you secretly get married, and
Yeah.
then you tell Dad, "Hey, look,
Yeah,
I
down
want to be a
Florida.
wrestler."
Yeah, he didn't say much for a while. Then he,
Okay.
God damn kid. Life goes on, but then he helped me, and he gave me everything he could.
That's great.
And which worked out to be great.
So after having this amazing team of trainers, you arrive in the NWA. How was the Cowboy gimmick acquired?
I was with Gary Hart, was my manager in Atlanta, Georgia.
He was great.
And Dickie Slater come in, and Gary wanted to put me and Slater together. Mr. Excitement was Dickie Slater, and he said, "Your name's too plain. I'm going to make you a cowboy." So I went out and bought a hat and a vest, and off we went.
So you were all in with the cowboy gimmick, huh?
Hey, whatever.
Whatever. just let me wrestle. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I get your thoughts quick on Dick Slater? Because I feel like he's incredibly underappreciated over the years. I felt he was amazing.
Slater was phenomenal.
Yeah.
What a hand. He was just
Mike
couldn't ask
skills.
for somebody that worked harder. But I think he's had a lot of health problems, and nobody can get a hold of him that I know. I've been trying to get a hold of him for 20 years. I know he's in Florida, and he's in some type of a home, but nobody seems to know where.
He had it factor. He was a tremendous heel,
Oh,
tremendous on the microphone, great in the ring. I mean, just brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Thought he was great.
Bob, what makes a great hand in your opinion?
What makes a great hand? Somebody who's willing to fall through their own behind, and it don't bother them. Someone who works hard, and when they go out there, they give it all they've got. And when people do that, I'm very happy with. That's what I always did.
Well, I could tell you, growing up watching you, we always felt you gave it all every match. We were big fans.
I loved what I was doing.
Well, you could tell.
It's easy to work hard when you love what you're doing.
So, obviously, I was telling you before we started, I've been trying to get out of New York for the last 20 years, right? So, we grew up together.
Shit, it's hard to get from here to the bridge.
Oh, please, there you go.
How about from downtown Huntington to here?
Oh, my God.
That's right. That was a half an hour, right?
Oh, I know. We were driving around in circles.
He's right around the corner. I had to shave.
Well, here's the thing, though. Where we are in Long Island, though, it does have everything you need, right? All the food,
sure,
shopping,
sure,
right? Bars, whatever you
traffic,
like. Traffic.
Traffic's awesome.
Traffic's
awesome.
Yeah.
Look, Bob, in 1981, you arrived to the WWE. That was considered the big time, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is so.
It was
we
WWF when I got here.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So we were always WWF fans, but
yes,
we used to read. We talked about PWI. We used to read about the magazines.
That was our
NWA, AWA. So it's obviously the WWE now is probably one of the only games in town. So whenever you see these documentaries, a lot of wrestlers like when you got to New York, you knew you made it.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a fact? Was it like when you're in Florida? Does your dad say, "You get to New York, son? You have now arrived"?
You certainly felt like that in Madison Square Garden. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. If you're involved in athletics or sports, team or individual, when you've made the Garden, and when you've made the main event in the Garden, there's really not a whole lot more you can accomplish except keep going back and being in the main event, of course.
Right.
Better and better and better.
You've just hit the Mecca. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's
So in the
top of
NWA, what was the largest crowd you probably played to when you were wrestling in Midland? What was it, NWA?
Yeah.
No, we had some big house. Greensboro did probably 20,000 people.
Well, you and Dick had the
Stuff
program
like
with
that.
Ric Flair, didn't
Yeah.
you? And that had to be in front of
Yeah.
a billion people.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
You messed him up.
We had that program going. But I'll tell you something. I don't even know if I've told anybody this yet, especially on the air. But
Beautiful. Let's hear it.
I'm old
Go
enough,
for it.
I don't care anymore.
Great.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyway, me and Flair are working. I think back in Greensboro, might have been in Charlotte.
Okay.
And
Flair country.
we had just done the big thing, and I'm working with Flair. But I'd just come in from New York. I'd been there maybe 6-7 months. So I small packaged Flair, and I said, "Rick," I said, "I'm sorry, but Vince wants me to beat you."
Oh.
And then I turned loose of him and laughed like a son. Last time we ever worked.
Really? I guess
Oh,
Rick
yeah.
didn't find that too humorous, huh?
He didn't, but I still do.
Spoiled sport. That's great.
Did your dad ever share with you his time when he wrestled Bruno at the Garden?
Nice.
What was it like for Dad?
1968, I believe?
Yeah, I know Dad. Well, it was the 60s. Might have been earlier than that.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
60s, but Dad had so much heat that Lou Albano had to come down one time in Sunnyside Garden with a gun.
Wow.
What?
Just to get him out of the ring.
Really?
And Dad had had that kind of heat in
That's not normal.
Richmond, Virginia. Him and Malenko had a riot, and they knocked Dad out with a chair. He was walking under the bleachers. They hit him in the head with a chair as he went under the bleachers. They cut Malenko. They got him in the ambulance, and people tried to turn the ambulance over.
Holy cow.
And that,
You need combat pay back then, right?
yeah. That's the kind of heat Roddy and I had here for a while. They've kind of simmered that down a little bit. And,
How dangerous was it for you and Roddy? Did it ever get crazy? It must have.
Yeah, we fought our way out of a lot of arenas and had them waiting for us when we come out the ramp. We was in Baltimore.
You believe this? People are insane.
Baltimore one time, and we're going to leave. Usually we'd sit back there and have 2 or 3 beers before we left, let everybody clear. So we were sitting back there and let's go. Okay, fine. So we open up the garage door and we're driving out and there's a big ramp goes up. Oh, everything is cool. We get to the top of that ramp, and boy, there they were.
Hello.
Wow.
We hate you.
I was driving a little Datsun at the time.
Oh, great. Doesn't even have a big, safe truck.
So I just hit a hard right, went right down the sidewalk. People were jumping out.
Oh, my God.
Jumping out of the way of the car, going both ways. Finally got a space between 2 parked cars. We got out of there and we were gone.
Jeez.
But that kind of thing happened a lot. But they've really calmed that down a little bit, which is great.
Did you ever get into it with any fans?
But I must admit that, God, I love that.
Yeah.
Let's just say, did you ever get into any fans? Maybe you were at the bar one night. I mean,
There's always some idiot who wants to, stand up to a wrestler.
especially the bodyguard of Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's always intelligent.
When I was Florida heavyweight champion, I weighed about 215. This is the first time I met Hogan. I was on my way home and I thought I'd stop. I'd heard about this band. And I thought I'd stop, and listen to the band play a set, which I did. And a big old blonde-headed guy playing the bass guitar. So anyway, they finished their set. Well, I'm going to go home. I don't want the wife to worry about me. So I walk out in the parking lot, and I hear this deep voice, "Hey, Mr. Orton. Mr. Orton." And I turned around what we were talking about, people trying me and stuff. When you're the Florida heavyweight champion, you weigh 215, everybody tries you.
That's funny.
And I turned around and I looked and I seen Hogan and I went, "Oh my God, am I in for it now?" And I set my feet and he goes, "I'd like to get into pro wrestling."
Wow.
He goes, "Where should I go?"
Wow.
I said, "Go see Hiro Matsuda." I said, "He's the best in town. He's at the Sportatorium." "Thank you, sir." And I was gone.
Then did he call you like a couple weeks later and go, "Hero broke my leg. Thank you for that advice"?
No, I never got that call, but he did all right.
But you're the guy that got it all rolling then,
You
huh?
know what? It's just something that happened. He would have gotten in business anyway. There's no doubt about that. I mean, when he was born for it, no doubt about it. But I just happened to be there. Right time, right place.
Yeah, timing is still special. Bob, growing up, we grew up during the Bob Backlund Championship run. Okay. You actually got 2 matches at MSG. You won the first one by countout, and the blow-off match was a lumberjack match, which unfortunately you lost because we were always praying for someone to beat Bob.
So yeah, we hated Bob with a passion, and whoever came into town. And again, I will tell you, growing up, right, I think I sported the cowboy hat for a couple of months.
Yeah, you did.
You did. I have no hair now, but I even had thinner hair when I was younger. You had that curly hair, so it was like you and I just didn't match up. I tried. I had the vest. I tried the hat. It just didn't work. So.
Thank you. Me and Piper and Orndorff was at a place in Allentown 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And these three guys come in, and one of them was dressed like me, one of them like Roddy, and one like Paul. It was amazing.
That is great.
We just had a blast.
That is
We really had a good time.
How was it working with the guy we've really learned to appreciate, the great Bob Backlund? How was it working with Bob
It was
Backlund?
phenomenal. He could do anything.
Greg,
You talk about a strong man.
Okay.
I don't know pound for pound if I've ever met a stronger human being.
Greg Valentine said something interesting about him, that when he worked with him, he actually learned a lot from him. His style, he was able to pull some of his style off, and he taught actually Bob how to pace himself, believe it or not, a little bit, because they were having those Iron Man matches almost, those really long matches. So,
Bob is amazing and in shape and fit.
So let me ask you this: coming into the WWE, some wrestlers state that Bob was killing the WWE. Well, I say WWE, I know it was WWF, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Bob was actually killing. They were getting close to bankruptcy because of him.
do you think he was a good draw or not?
Was he a
from what
good
you
draw?
remember?
I don't think I ever was on a card where it wasn't sold out. It was damn close.
Okay.
And no matter whether I was working with him or somebody else, I just don't believe. That's the first time I ever heard anything like that.
Okay.
Right, fair enough.
To be honest with you,
That's fair.
I'm kind of stunned. I thought Bob was just.
We've grown to appreciate that championship reign,
yeah.
and another guy that doesn't get enough props, who also hated at the time, Pedro Morales. Do you have anything to say about Pedro? How it was like to work with Pedro? Because the WWE thing, right, was after did you blow off with Bob, then you went for the Intercontinental with Pedro, and if you're lucky to get two, and then you're on your way out,
then
right?
You went to Andre.
Right,
Yeah.
or Tony Atlas, right?
Sure.
No formula going on there, huh?
So how was it working with Pedro?
Oh, great. Pedro was fun. I don't really remember, maybe one or two guys back in that time that you didn't go out there and enjoy having your match with.
Right.
Because everybody was very good.
Who did you dread?
And everybody was different.
Who did you dread working with?
Oh,
if you can?
God.
Come on now.
I hate saying names that back.
Just say it.
There had to be a couple. That
Listen, I'll help you out.
irritated.
Valentine on our show said he could not stand working with SD Jones. He said SD was stiff.
He did it. He was rough.
He said he was stiff and he didn't like working with him.
He said he could be
Yeah,
rough.
but see, we had fun, right? We had fun, SD. I would think maybe Pootsky. I didn't enjoy working with Pootsky.
How come?
Pootsky. I love it.
You take that
There
hammer
was a
and
guy,
really-
Outback Jack. I didn't. When I went in the ring with Outback Jack, I worked with the people for 10 minutes until it was time for him to beat me. And that's just
right.
what I did, because the guy, gosh, the times were changing. And that's when he was changing
Yeah, I heard
everything over.
Pootsky was a bit irritating in the locker room, too. So, at least from what
He
we've
just
heard.
Was just hard for me, who like to go out and do things.
Right.
For somebody who just wanted to go out and pose.
He was very limited.
And then beat you. Yeah,
he was so limited. No doubt.
So let me ask you this. You were talking about Andre the Giant. We recently
I loved working with Andre.
Okay.
So why did you love working with Andre, number one? And number two, on the documentary, you spoke about him having some real heat with Randy Macho Man Savage. Lanny Poffo was in studio a couple of weeks ago. And he also had heat with the Iron Sheik. Did you know about all that heat? And what was it like in the locker room?
Well, I don't think that's probably the right way to characterize Randy and Sheik. Sheik used to come in, me and Andre to be sitting there playing cribbage. Andre dated my little sister.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
So he loved me and would sell for me like he would for the big show. But
okay.
But Sheik would, oh, Mr. Giant, oh, Mr. Andre, can I get anything for you? Can I do this? Can I do this?
Okay.
Get out of here. When they'd go out there, Andre would just beat the hell out of him.
Were you in fear for the Sheik's life? Like, this guy's gonna die tonight?
But was Andre just messing with him, or did he really dislike him? Was this Andre's way
I
of?
don't think Andre actually disliked anybody.
Okay. He was just messing with people. Because he could.
Because he could, and because they kind of asked for it.
Okay.
Okay. You had to ask. You had to go pretty far over the side of the cliff to get Andre pissed off at you.
Give us your thoughts on Macho
Nicest
Man.
man you ever. I was around him in a couple of different occasions. I guess he was all right.
Okay.
I think he did pretty darn good in the wrestling business.
I think you all did pretty
but
darn
I
good.
didn't run with him or hang with
Right.
him or
Right.
anything like
Where
that.
does that great move, the superplex, come from?
Actually, gosh, dang it. The kid from not a kid, a man from Minnesota, and I can never remember his name, and I really hate that. But he's the first one who did it.
Okay.
Brad Reigns?
No, not Brad.
Kurt Hennig?
He died of brain cancer. And he had a brother who worked, and I just can't remember his name.
Okay.
But it was.
But you decided to take this move upon your
Well,
add it to your
that
arsenal.
was Fuji said you ought to do this, so I did.
Okay.
And anyway, a few years later, I was at Minnesota, and Scott was his first name. I can't remember his last name. But we were in Duluth, Minnesota, and he walked up to me, and he was sick, and he says, "Where's my cut?" I said,
Oh boy.
"Scott," I go, "what?" He goes, "The superplex." I go, "Oh gosh."
That's great.
Yeah. And then he laughed. We had a good time
Yeah.
and everything with it. God, it makes me mad. I can't remember. But I'm getting old.
It's
There's
all right.
a lot of things I don't remember.
I can't remember my name, so it's all good.
Yeah, me too.
We did recover when you went back to the NWA and teamed up with Flair. So let's move on, Mike. The return to WWE. He comes back as Ace Cowboy Bob Orton.
So you come back as Ace to WWE. Is that the
Well, I
original-
wasn't Ace yet.
So when you return back, who presents you with the plan to become Ace, and who tries to put you with Roddy Piper? And did you have any sort of history with Roddy Piper before this?
Yeah, he was in Charlotte the same time I was, and we'd got to know each other, and pretty good friends. And when I come up here, they asked me if I would do this. I said sure. It sounded like fun to me. I really just enjoyed my job. Guys.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed my job. The only thing I didn't like about it was when we started going every night, plus 2 times on Saturday, 2 times on Sunday. There's a couple of years there. I got home maybe 30 days out of both years. So that I didn't like. But as far as going out and performing, I loved that. Then Roddy just started calling me Ace. So
Really?
that's where that come in. Yeah.
Was that like during a live?
That was just during one of the Piper's Pits. He just started calling me Ace. He might have said, "Do you mind if I call you Ace?" And no, I don't care. Let's call me. But that's how that all got started.
How was your relationship with Roddy? Sorry, there. Pharaoh. How was your relationship with Roddy?
We remained good friends. I talked to him maybe a couple of days before he passed. His wife had stayed up on their ranch in Oregon for while he traveled and stuff, and then he had gone to L.A. and was getting into movies and stuff like that. She had just moved down to stay with Roddy, not long, maybe a couple of months, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. I'm not sure, but I know she hadn't been down there with him long. And then I talked to him, and he was the happiest I'd ever heard him. And then a couple of days later, I got the call he was gone.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I stayed in touch with. Valentine, I stayed in touch with a little bit. And, it's about the only guys I really stay in touch with. Everyone's got their own life and their own family. And,
Right.
And
Roddy, for some reason, and it reminds me of you too, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Roddy, for some reason, was never given a world title. For some reason, you were never even given at least an Intercontinental title. Why is it that some of these guys, yourself and Roddy included, clearly main event guys, clearly, why not a strap? Or was this just a different time period where belts were...
Who knows? Who
Did it
knows
ever
what
bother
they're
you?
thinking.
Like, geez, where's my
It
strap?
bothered me. It would have been nice, but
Right.
I had a few titles here and there.
Right.
So.
Were there ever any flirtations in the back? Like, Bob, you might get the Intercontinental belt. We're talking
No.
about it. Nothing
No.
like that? Okay. I was just curious about that. Is it true that the injury to your arm, because we know that the cast shortly thereafter appeared on your arm for forever, is it true that the arm injury was actually real and occurred during the war to settle the score against Jimmy Snuka? Like you had really broken it. He's afraid to. Should I say? Like the rumors were that you really busted it, and then it healed, and they were like, "Keep the cast on."
That means I did a good job.
You did a great job. You fooled me completely. Well, there you have it, folks.
The bigger question is, how much did you sell that cast for, and how much did you make for it?
Holy eBay, Batman!
You know what? I've never done stuff like that. I'm not very sharp. Randy, not too long ago, asked me if I still had some of my old wrestling. I said, no, I took it to Goodwill.
Oh, man.
He goes, Dad, there's a guy that wants to buy your stuff. Shit, he's a little late.
He's a little late.
Oh, quick, go to the dumpster. Go to the dumpster.
Meanwhile, the guy from Goodwill's like a millionaire now. He's in the Virgin Islands party.
Probably. We're feeling bad for him.
Oh, boy.
Oy.
So, the Pharaoh mentioned the war to settle the score. Did you know that this was the actual beginning of something big?
Like war to settle the score.
So you had Piper
the
Hogan.
prequel to the whole MTV WrestleMania. I think it was on MTV.
Yeah, it was on MTV. So it was your prequel right before they decided to do
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. That's where Mr. T makes his first appearance. You and
before WrestleMania 1?
Yeah. Correct. So it's Hogan, Piper at the Garden, which I was at.
Yes, you were.
One of the great
You
matches.
didn't bring the Pharaoh either.
I won that match.
Yeah, you did.
I beat Paul Orndorff with a cast to the head.
That is correct. How was Paul? Did you get along with Paul?
Oh, God, got along with Paul great. What an athlete.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Paul was a good man.
Very intense.
Yeah.
Great on the mic.
Yeah.
Very intense man.
Yeah,
and sold that in the ring, too. Just intense.
Yeah.
So you got this whole lead up. When do you start hearing about that they're going to execute something called Wrestlemania?
We heard about it and everything, which was great, and they're going to do the show. But you got to remember, I'm not sure. The other guys might have known about all that stuff. I was never real big in what's going on and stuff. I just wanted to know who I was with, what we were going to do, and I'd go out and I'd try to have the best match of the night.
Seemed you stay out of the politics, huh?
That's what I did. Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And when WrestleMania came around, we knew it was a really big thing. And Vince, I think, was pretty much, all in. And then
Is it true that he basically ransomed his mortgage? Because you hear these stories where he put everything, the college tuition for the kids.
I think that might be true. We started getting our paychecks out of a bank in Boston, which don't mean much except for we never did before.
Okay.
And after WrestleMania, we never got those checks out of Boston anymore.
Oh.
And I'm pretty sure that's what did it. And
the gamble paid off.
The gamble paid off.
Beautiful.
And boom. Yeah.
Now, I want to just back up a little bit. I want to mention your brother Barry, right? He was a pro wrestler. Barry, I think, was in the WWE almost at the same time you were. You together.
Yeah.
Much like Lanny and Macho Man Savage, you were a superstar, and Barry was a talent enhancement guy.
Yeah.
How does that work with a family? Like, you're a superstar. You're a big name. People come to see you. You're hanging out with Roddy Piper. You are the man. And is there any problem, like jealousy from your brother, number one? And number two, is there any point that you feel it necessary to go to the WWE brass and say, look, I need you to push my brother a little bit?
No, I would never do that. Barry always worked hard. But he had his problems. I don't even want to get into that because it's him.
Okay.
It's not important. But not say we didn't all have a few problems, at one time or another.
Sure.
But Barry was pretty well hooked, and so. But he was a good man for the spot they had him in, and if he would have been a little bit clear-headed, he might have done a little better. But life goes on.
Sure.
You can't look back at that stuff, and nobody's got any hard feelings or anything like that about anything. So.
Okay. Fair enough.
Jealousy, I don't think he was jealous of me at all.
Right. Seems to run in the family. There's a pretty even keel I'm sensing going on here. If we can hop back to WrestleMania 1, I got to ask you, did you know at the time how successful this event was going to be? Did you realize at the time we might be really onto something? This is the Super Bowl of wrestling at this point, all these years later. I mean, how did that feel, though? What was it like for you to step into that ring at WrestleMania 1 at the Garden? And what did it feel like? And did you have any idea this is going to be something that's going to be every year?
Yeah, well, yeah, because it was big, and everybody knew it was big. And like I say, when Vince hit that thing and boom, everything went, then we knew we were on our way. It was fantastic, but at the same time, I was in the first Starrcade.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the first Saturday Night Main Event, and I was in when Andre fought Wepner or whatever. I was on that card, and I was on the one with Ali and Inoki or somebody. You know, I was on all the first time
Shea
things.
Stadium.
You know, lucky enough, I was on all them first time shows.
Right.
So it was big and everything, but I'd been there before.
Right.
But I don't think anything quite this big.
Right.
But being in those other slots, you know, it was just go out and have a great, put on a great show. That's all.
Did you sense then that Vince was going to eventually someday win these territorial wars and stuff? Did you see the Monday Night Wars coming at that point or anything like that? Did you foresee Vince, becoming king of the mountain?
I knew it was going on, and I watched them switch their night, I think, to the same night Vince ran, and I thought, boy, these people are, they're not that sharp.
Okay.
Because Vince, he had the horses. And although they still, they had some pretty good talent down there, too.
Sure.
But the thing about there, and the thing about New York, when you come to New York, you had a chance to rise. And if you rose to the occasion, you rose on the card. When you were down there, if you weren't in Dusty's clique or whoever else's clique was down,
Sullivan, Flair,
those guys,
that whole group, right?
If you weren't in one of them cliques, you weren't going anywhere because they were, they wanted it all and they got it all. I went down there, stayed for a little while, and I called Vince and said, "Hey, please let me come back. I can't stand this stuff."
Wow.
This is around '89 WCW, just very briefly, maybe.
No, this would have been
mid-Atlantic,
maybe 84 or 5.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, okay, okay.
So let me ask you this though: when you see Vince doing this large takeover WrestleMania, what were your father's feelings, and did you feel this was bad for wrestling?
No, Dad. When we used to travel, I think it was even before I got into business, he used to say, someday somebody is going to take this business and make it worldwide. And he called that shot. And I was lucky enough to be involved and be around when it happened.
That process.
Now, what he did didn't bother me in the least. I'd been to a lot of territories, and most people, you get along with, they treat you okay, but there's no love lost. And what he did to them places and the way we were drawn, that's what I thought about, just how are we doing. I never really thought a whole lot about how they're doing, because it didn't concern me. But I just wasn't that interested in what they had going on.
So I'm going to have two very important questions. So this is the first important question. Yeah. What was the WrestleMania payday for Cowboy Bob Orton?
It was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Here comes the prying from Captain Cash Register. Here it comes.
Pretty good.
Come on, Bob. What's pretty good?
Can we give a roundabout?
Come on, buddy.
Let me put it this way.
Oh, God.
Valentine said his was like $30,000.
Is that what he said?
He said on the show.
I don't remember.
So you're main eventing. So
I hope you're accurate, because you're going to pee him off
at?
if he... Wait a minute, $30,000. That was so good.
Jeez.
I love talking numbers.
He's like, what?
That gosh damn Valentine.
I told you. What are you doing? Oh, my God. Were you in the ballpark? Oh, my Lord. Unbelievable.
I have a question about WrestleMania, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I saw on one of the shows, one of the legend shows on the network, that Ali was a bit of a pain in the ass around the WrestleMania 1 match, around the
he was the special ref.
around the ring, though, that they had to keep him out of the ring. is that Okerlund said they had to keep him out of the ring because he wanted to punch people. And
you know, that's Gene's story, and he can tell it any
oh, okay. So, yeah, okay.
But I've been in the ring with Ali twice. Once at WrestleMania, and once he refereed a match for me down in Tampa, Florida. I'm pretty sure with Mike Graham, Eddie Graham's boy.
Okay.
Right.
And he was a special referee and knocked me out.
Really?
Not really.
Not really? You Mark. Kayfabe.
I was marking out.
Yeah.
He knocked me out, and Mike won the Florida Championship back. So we got up here. He swung at me, and I ducked and got out of the way.
There you go.
Which means that he really knocked me out.
Right.
Let me ask you this: how was it dealing with Pat Patterson?
Oh, Pat, what a mind for the business. I mean, what a mind. He was just.
Did he treat you
if
okay?
you ever, well, sure. If you ever wasn't sure about something, you go sit down with Pat for a minute or two and say, "Here's what I'm thinking." He'd listen, boom, boom, boom. Well, maybe, yeah, okay, great. That's perfect.
Okay.
But he was just sharp.
Okay.
Was there anyone else valued that much? Maybe Gorilla at the time. Was there anyone else you could go to besides Pat? Who were Vince's right-hand men besides Pat?
God,
Gorilla?
I don't know. I guess Pat. I'm sure Gorilla.
Okay.
I know he thought a lot of Arnold.
Okay.
Now there's guys in there now I wouldn't even know who they are.
Right. You had the incredible good fortune to work for Vince Sr. and Vince Jr.
Yeah.
Could you compare the two of them? How they were as people and how they were as businessmen, their differences?
Well, again, I was talking to somebody about this in the car earlier today. I didn't get involved in that kind of thing. I never went to the office. I never sat down and talked with any about doing this, that, and the other. I just tried to do the best I could with what they gave me. And I didn't spend the time a lot of guys did, which, is probably to my detriment. But I was happy. I did well enough for myself. I was happy with myself, what I did, so I didn't care.
So you had pleasant experiences with both of them?
Sure.
Basically, fair enough.
Sure.
Well, we have a show, the Evan Ginsberg show. Evan is an agent, and he's on Sundays from 11 to 1. Anyway, he's a big proponent he feels that all the wrestlers should have medical benefits, and some of the older wrestlers looking for that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that now they do have some kind of medical. Now, back in my day, we didn't, but now things are so much more high risk. I think that probably is a good thing. Back in my day, I had back injury and knees and stuff like that, but nothing that ever really kept me down because, I don't know, we were a little bit more careful, I think might be,
The risk factors have become
pretty... I did a seminar today, and I told them what's the most important thing in professional wrestling. And, guys would say this and guys would say that. I said, no. You protect your opponent's body at all times. But, as time goes on, things get lost.
So as you compare the eras of your era and today's, do you find that today's era is more dangerous?
I think it is, yes.
Okay.
Just from watching.
You still watch?
Just Randy.
Okay.
Just Randy.
So you were in the big man era. Were you ever involved in steroids? You were a big man, so did you feel necessity to start shooting the juice?
But it's Don Morocco's fault.
Don Morocco or Superstar Billy Graham?
Because Don Morocco, they teamed me up with Don.
Okay.
And the only way they could see me is if I got on the roids.
Oh God! I figured.
How long were you doing this? How long were you hitting the gas for?
I just did it like 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
I just did one thing and boom, I was.
Did you see any advantages from it instead of just becoming a little bigger?
I got stronger.
Yeah.
Got a lot stronger, a lot bigger.
How did you?
Everything got bigger.
Everything.
I don't know.
What do you do with that one?
That's what she
I'm not
said.
touching that. You better not.
Don't touch that.
Yeah. How did you like the? I like it. I watched it the other night. I was laughing my ass off. How did you like the boxing Bob gimmick?
The boxing Bob, it was just fun.
It was hilarious.
Yeah,
what was it like working with T?
fun.
Was there any point where like,
No.
dude, this guy hits me the wrong way, I'm gonna knock him into the fifth row or anything like that?
No, no.
And here's a Mike angle too. I got to ask this for Michael. Did you have any bad feelings towards him the way Roddy pretty clearly did? Because Roddy clearly can't stand.
See that? Now I'm starting to think that's a work. Now I'm
God.
starting to think
you
that
never
whole
know.
thing's a
He's going
work.
to probably look at you like, duh.
All right, give it to us now.
Did Roddy truly hate this guy? I mean, what's the story here with T?
Yeah, I don't know why Roddy didn't like him. Never asked.
Okay.
But
Well, you really just let it go, don't you? Roddy hates him. Whatever.
T just fine.
So wait a minute, you're
Matter
traveling.
of fact, after our boxing match in Phoenix, I'm walking back, by his dressing room, and he's sitting there on the oxygen. And
Mr. T.
And he says, "You want some, Bob?" I said, "No, I got my beer."
There you go. One's a sort of fighter, and the other one's a wrestler. I'll have a beer. You keep breathing there, pal.
So now we're going to move to Saturday night's main event, right? You're on the premiere show of Saturday night's main event. Now this is huge.
Thing I was on,
Yeah.
on the front
Dude, you're like a
Trailblazer.
not just a
Yeah.
trailblazer. He's almost like a rabbit's foot, man.
Oh,
Everything
yeah.
he goes, there's like gold.
Turns to gold.
Yes.
Very
Some
gifted
people
there.
just have it.
Well, it
Wow.
reminds me of like the original Green Bay Packers, the guys who brought the Super Bowl to where it was.
Yeah.
You, Piper, and Orndorff and Hogan were
That's
like
it.
the
Sure.
Green Bay Packers.
That's it. You ain't kidding. You
So
ain't kidding. It was just fun.
Piper retires. You get put with Adrian Adonis. What was it like working with Adrian? Because we absolutely love Adrian Adonis. Any stories for us on the adorable one?
So well, first I want to say so far you've really, we don't want you to say bad things about Andy, and you seem like you liked everybody, but Adrian also had a bad rap if you hear from some wrestlers. What was it like being around Adrian?
Well, Adrian was Adrian, and I got along with Adrian just fine. I don't. We even went to Japan together. You talk about weird being with Adrian in Japan.
Okay.
My God. But Adrian
He's that
was-
bizarre, huh?
Did you feel at any time you should have said
Fickle.
that? Did you ever feel at any time you should have said to Adrian, "Eat a salad"?
Would you please? Oh my God!
Boy, he did go up, didn't he?
Yeah, it was
My
like,
gosh, and
he was an incredible worker.
You know what I
Yes,
found
he was.
amazing? As he gained the weight, he still had the agility.
I'll tell you, somebody else the same way was at. Gosh, here I go again. Can't remember.
His first name's not Scott.
No, but
Still trying to think of who he's going to
the guy that came in out of Oregon,
Billy Jack
the
Haynes.
blonde guy. No, he had blonde hair. Not Billy Jack, but he was up there with Billy Jack.
Okay.
He was a good friend of Ed Wiskowski.
Oh boy. This
What
is gonna
the
be
hell
rough.
was his
But the
name?
name Scott Dyshik just
But
came to
anyway,
my
he
name.
was like 220 and stuff the first time I seen him when he come back in here. He had to be over 300. Still moved like he was 220.
Yeah.
But I can't remember his name. Gosh dang, Bob. I've been hitting the head too many times.
I think that's what it is. Did you clock yourself with the
Yeah,
cast?
we know a few people like that.
Yeah, did you? Wait, shit.
Claim we get in the head too many times, right?
Buddy
Rose.
Rose. Yeah.
Playboy Buddy
Buddy
Rose.
Rose.
Playboy Buddy Rose.
Yeah, he
Used to
moved
weigh-
to right.
Yeah, 220 pounds maybe.
Right.
And
And
looked
he could wrestle,
fantastic.
too.
They could move.
Oh, he could wrestle and talk
I
too.
went over, way over 300 and still could move like he did when he was 220.
I'll tell you
Same
what.
way Adrian was.
When you're talking, bringing the older names up, these guys were incredible. Yourself, Buddy Rose. Oh my God,
The whole
Adrian
crowd.
Adonis. They were amazing. Every one of them. The matches were amazing.
Is there
Everybody
anybody?
had their own personality.
Yes.
And
Everybody
it
was
was so-
unique.
yeah.
Memorable.
So let me
Memorable.
ask you. So this is a big deal with me, right? Mike over Matt skills. To be a great wrestler, what's more important?
Well, I think to be a great wrestler, your mat skills. But if you want to talk about drawing money,
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for
then
correcting me.
we'd have to be.
So you got to talk him in the
You'd have
seats.
to be the mic, yeah. A lot of people now.
Where did you rank your Mike skills?
Oh God, I was right down to the bottom of the barrel.
Really?
Yeah,
He's being
Wow,
rough.
you're underselling
Yeah.
yourself.
yeah.
I'll tell you what. Okay. Piper retires, you went with Adonis, then your team with Morocco. We kind of covered Morocco. Any chance that they were talking about you guys winning the straps? You were in WrestleMania 3, right?
That should have happened.
Yeah, Don said that a couple of times, but it never happened. And like I say, I just get, okay, Don, great.
Would you rank Morocco as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time?
He was very, very good.
Oh,
yes,
man.
he was. Yes, he was.
Is there anybody that's not yet, because we're going to be getting to your Hall of Fame induction, is there anybody in the Hall that's not in the Hall of Fame that bothers you, that they're not in? Anyone you can think of? Because Adonis is not in, and we always bitch about that. Do you feel he's worthy?
Of course he is.
Okay. Anyone else you could think of offhand that you say to yourself?
If you're going to put Goldberg in and not Adrian Adonis, then something's not right.
Sure,
yeah, there you go.
Sure, I agree with that. Sure.
Ivan Koloff.
Ivan Koloff is not
in.
He's not in?
He's
not in.
I did not know
And he just passed away, too.
Maybe Ivan is because, he was in my dad's era, I think. Maybe a little after Dad.
Okay.
But before the WWE thing. So maybe it's got something to do with that. He was WWF, not WWE. Maybe. That's the only way that I could explain it, because I don't know the answer.
Right.
And I don't see any reason why he's not, except for the fact that he wasn't here from the time that WWE started.
Right.
And that might be it. I'm not sure, but if you go back and look, I think they put Watts in. Well, if they put Bill Watts in, then why in the hell wouldn't Ivan be in? Yeah. You're exactly right.
Yeah, there's some folks that makes no sense.
Yeah.
We were big fans of Demolition growing up. They're not in. I mean, I understand.
Demolition aren't in either.
They're not in. I understand that
I'm
there's
sure
this
they will
lawsuit
be.
going on of some kind with
And
concussions.
shockingly enough, probably the most important part, Alexa Bliss isn't in the
Would
Hall
you
of Fame.
stop with Alexa Bliss? Oh God! Again, he's in love with Alexa.
Do you even
Bliss.
know who? Do you
She's
know
even
who
got
Alexa Bliss is?
She's got a 500-foot order of protection going on. It's
Well, let me ask you this first. What do you think of the women's evolution? Number one. I know you said you pretty much just watch your son, but what do you think of women's evolution?
They really are getting a big push. They're getting their first pay-per-view.
Yeah, they're getting their first pay-per-view and stuff, and I hope it does great. I heard they're bringing some of the older girls back in to be in that, which is great. God bless. I hope they do fantastic.
Any thoughts on Moolah?
Oh, I love Moolah.
You did?
Oh,
okay.
gosh, yeah. What a nice
hell of an
lady.
entertainer.
Oh, you ain't kidding.
Yeah.
Her and May, they just had a blast.
Wow.
But yeah. I really liked Moolah. I liked Dad. I met Moolah when I was just a kid. And a lot of the older girl wrestlers I met when I was young, because I used to go to the matches with Dad a lot.
Okay.
So I knew all the midgets. I knew all the gals.
Sky Lolo, Little Beaver.
Sure.
Sky Low.
Yeah.
Sure.
So real quick, we're almost out of time. We got about 5 minutes.
Okay.
What was your feeling like to be in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, it was
be
great.
inducted?
It was great to be recognized for something you enjoyed doing for so long.
Who gave you the phone call? Just out of curiosity.
I think Howard Finkel. Wouldn't swear to
Really?
it, but I think Howard Finkel.
Oh, okay.
I know he's the one who called about the ring size and everything. And I'm pretty sure, because he used to do that kind of thing for Vince, like, give the guys, let you know where you were going and what you were going to do. I'm pretty sure it was. I know he's the one called about the ring.
Were you surprised when you got the surprised when you got the phone call? Did it surprise you?
I was like, oh, cool.
Okay. you got this even keel thing going on here the whole way. What? Okay, that's cool. When do I show up?
You've lost a lot of friends, obviously, throughout the years.
The business.
Could I ask you which one affected you the most?
Well, Roddy.
Roddy
was just, right out of the like I said, I just talked to him a couple of days before.
It's like 20 decades at least he got chipped out of it.
A shock. Last time we were on a show together, I had both knees replaced. And Roddy was supposed to be working with Terry Funk. And for some showdown in Southern Illinois. And it's this thing, I forget what they call it, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. And they have rides and booze and parties and bands, all kinds of stuff. Plus they have a wrestling show. So they give me a call, we'd like you to come down and be in Roddy's corner. So I was 52 days from having both knees replaced. So I get down there, and we're sitting there talking, and Roddy goes, Bobby, he says, I kind of tweaked my neck the other night. Would it be okay if you worked and I was in your corner? I looked at him. Sure, Rod. That's what you want.
That's what
So I went out to work with Terry, and told him, I said, hey, my knees, I don't know what's going to, but I was getting around okay. I could walk. So we went out and had our match, and Roddy got involved, and everything worked out just fine. But I'm thinking, I just told him I got my...
Right. He's like, right. Sorry, take one for the team, pal.
You're a pro. You'll be all right. Randy never gives us a hard time. There you go. Speaking of Randy, as I mistakenly said the wrong name, Randy Orton, your son, who I personally love, 13-time world heavyweight champion. How did you see him becoming this good? Your son has had some career, and did you foresee him becoming? I consider him the Lex Luthor to John Cena's Superman. He's always been the knight to John Cena's day. Did you foresee him being so successful? Because he's a first ballot Hall of Famer too, obviously, when the time comes.
He certainly had the look, and he certainly had the talent.
Yeah.
And when you take the look and the talent and you give it a push, then you see what happens. It either does great or it bombs, and he did great.
Could you tell early on he had it going on?
He has he had it going on. You ain't kidding.
Right mindset. How do you feel Randy is on the mic compared to Pops, who just slammed himself? So
well, Randy's better than I am.
Okay.
He's not John Cena or Roddy Piper or Hulk Hogan.
Right.
But his promos are to the point.
Yep.
No BS.
Right. Yep.
Doesn't scream and yell. Just tells you what he thinks and how it is. And, and I personally see nothing wrong with that promo at all.
I've always found him to be like a Clint Eastwood to me.
In contrast to the other stuff, certainly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Amazing career.
Thank you
to end this, I want to thank you, sir, for taking the time out to visit our little show.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's been our pleasure, and you are an icon. You gave us great times, right?
Oh my God! Yeah, years and years of them.
I guess
that makes my day.
Well,
that's what I like to hear.
I guess in life, if you change one person's life, you've done your job, right? And I could tell you've done it for millions. So we thank you for taking this time with us.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being with us, Cowboy.
You want to send us out, Pharaoh?
Oh, basically, I just want to say thank you, Cowboy Bob Orton, for coming down. You can catch Monte and the Pharaoh every Thursday at 8:05 at Village Connection / Facebook Live, and we will see you next time on Monte and the Pharaoh.
Thank you, Mr. Orton.
Later.
You're welcome.